Hi, Uncle Thor here. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Hagal Rune, which a lot of people are afraid of. They think it's a totally negative rune. The idea of a hailstorm or a burst, a shattering type of effect. Hagal literally in Germany also means shot from a shotgun. And what is the positive side of the rune? You know, it looks so scary. It shatters, it breaks. Well, Hagal, like all runes, has its useful and its not so beneficial aspects. But I'm reminded of an old rock quarry that was up the country and how this rock would have to be shattered, taken right off the side of the hill in order to be made useful. And they used the shattering type things, the tools, jackhammers and things like that. And they also had, I think, some kind of big thing. I mean, this is a very long time ago. We're talking 50 years. I was a little kid at the time. But I know they did some blasting too, when the dynamite would shatter the stone. And then, in a sense, just like fishermen with a net harvesting fish, well, they would harvest the stone and the gravel. And to take the process further, down by the old railroad tracks where they used to be, the old NYO and OW lines heading towards Cutterbackville, there was a place called the Crusher. And what this was a big, huge thing that would crush stone and gravel into different sizes. And when I saw it, it looked like it had been abandoned. And again, that's about 45 years ago. Maybe longer than 45 years. That was, a long time ago in a faraway place. I don't even know if the structures are still there, but this thing would just take that stone and pulverize it. And of course, gravel has to be sized, like the big driveway gravel. That's nice for the driveway. For other things, such as landscaping, you want finer gravel. And then the people with their fish tanks want even finer gravel. So, you know, the Hagal is what is used very effectively, not only to shatter the stone, but to shatter it to the desired size. See, Hagal can be used with quite a degree of precision. Again, coal is the same thing. And I remember seeing the Darjeeling Express in India, where there is a man who sits on top of the coal tender, and the whole time of the trip with a hammer, he's just breaking and breaking pieces of coal to make them small enough so that they'll fit in the firebox better and they'll burn better in that locomotive. Coal itself is sized. They have something they call pea coal. It's made to a very small size. And then you have other things that need large pieces of coal, like some of the old powerhouses would use. So again, the Hagal rune, the Hagal, let's say, principle, I should say, is behind shattering this coal and shattering it to size for the right size. I used to have a can of pea coal around here somewhere. Someone gave me for a joke, you know, joke about steam locomotives. I wonder where it went off to. It would have been great to show you. But another aspect of Hagal is when we think of the hailstorm and that power, that pelting of stones. Take a look at sandblasting. It's used a lot in New York City, and basically sand is forced through a hose at high speed, and it pelts the stone, it pelts, say, metalwork, and just cleans it right off. It literally knocks off the dirt. They have to be very precise at how fast they send that stuff out. And this isn't any sand. It's almost perfectly sized, but the principle is the same. See, a trick we did when I was tending bar, and it's still, I guess it's still done. I had a cloth there just for this. I take 3 or 4 ice cubes in a cloth, whip it around like this, and then slam onto the bar, and that would shatter the ice. And for some drinks, you wanted shattered ice. Some people also preferred that crushed, they called it crushed ice, but it was shattered ice. I should know, I did it in drinks. So this is a way of the Hagal principle being used to accommodate customers. There are many practical uses of this rune in our everyday life that we really don't see, or I should say the rune's principle. And so people look at this as a totally negative thing until they understand that if it wasn't for this Hagal principle, many of the things that we use every day wouldn't be usable for us. They would be awkward and ponderous. and think of the old days like with coal stoves. If you were throwing around pieces of coal this big, it'd be a pain in the ass. So sizing stone, sizing gravel, sizing ice are all little functions of this rune. Sandblasting is one function of this rune. It's something to think about. And I'm sure that if you go out and you look and spend some time at it, you can find other examples where like a Hagal Rune Shattering action is beneficial, just as its pelting action is beneficial. But that's up for you. You do your homework. I'm not going to do it all for you. This is Uncle Thor. Have a good one.